Good morning, everyone. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday. Thank you for those who were with me last night on Tuesday Tarot. Yeah, it was a good night. It was a good night. So thank you for that. Always take a message if it resonates. So remember that Spirit will piggyback on messages, right? So yeah, if something you're listening and you're like, whew, that really gave me the feels, then that message is for you. So that's Tuesday Tarot. So thank you for being with me. I know I had this kind of set up to go live at 9:30 and it's more closer to 9 o'clock, but sometimes you got to do what you're moved to do. And I was moved to start this conversation. So it's been a few months now. I actually did a series of blogs on the Narcissist and Empath connection. And in my community, I've done a couple of videos on it. And so one of the things that I wanted to do, or was brought to do really, was I did some research and I did some information about a narcissist and empath connection, and really about narcissism, because I am not, disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a licensed counselor in any way. So this is all intuitive and this is all experience. And I will tell you that the experience that I'm bringing to this is not only personal, but it's also over 10,000 hours of conversations and tuning into that kind of energy. And so I think one of the reasons I've had a struggle with bringing this video to like my public forum is because of the imposter syndrome, right? Who am I? Who am I to do this? But I do feel like this is part of the work that I'm being brought to do, is talk about this really difficult subject and have this difficult conversation. And so I never want to demonize anybody, and I'm not going to do that in this video. Like, narcissism is a diagnosed personality. I call it disorder. Some people call it a trait. But in tuning into very narcissistic male and female, men and women, I kept stumbling because, like, some are very clearly broken. Some are very clearly broken. Like, I tune in and I can totally feel the shame. I can totally feel the abuse, whatever it was, and the effect of it, right? And what broke them. And then the other type, it was really very interesting, because I would be like, well, they don't feel broken, but they still feel like so selfish that it's damaging. It's damaging. And so in my research, we have the two types. We have the grandiose and we have the what they call the vulnerable. And that really explained a lot for me, having tuned into and been a part of relationship with very narcissistic people in many different areas of my life. And you know, that vulnerable one, right? That's the one that feels broken. That's the one that's carrying the shame. However they, came to be that emotion impacted into their emotional body, whatever brought on the shame, whatever the abuse was, whatever it is. And for many of them, it's all kinds of abuse. It's verbal abuse, it's emotional abuse, it's sexual abuse, it's physical abuse, right? Male or female. And especially when something that traumatic happens that early in your life, that's why I call them the broken ones, right? They're broken on some level. Not to let them off the hook, because they still, are exhibiting the traits. They're still being destructive to the empath. And then the grandiose. This was the one that was a little stumping to me. But these are the Very early in life, they were put on a pedestal. They were given to. Maybe they were lied for. These were the kids that the parents made excuses for. My child can do no wrong. And that really internalized their grandiose, or I'm, better than everybody and everything needs to go my way, because it always has, right? So the traits that I'm going to read off here to kind of help you figure out if the person you're thinking of, are they narcissistic? And there's two sets of indicators for each, but I'm actually just going to pull the set of indicators that is kind of both are in this general set. And again, I don't want to demonize anybody, but at some point you get to a point in life where you need to take responsibility for your own actions, right? And so, if you're someone that is manipulative, or you are destructive to others, like at some point you have to take ownership or accountability. So anyway, we'll get to that. But they have an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Again, they want to be the most important in every situation. They have a sense of entitlement. Absolutely. They feel they deserve it all, no matter what. Craving constant admiration or affection. They're broken. Even the grandiose ones, they're shut down emotionally. They figured out how to get everything out of that ego validation, that ego mind, right? Getting their ego boosted. They like that dopamine. They like that chemical surge, right? So yeah, craving constant admiration or attention or affection. Expecting to be recognized as superior. They're just best, better. And probably at the end of the day, they're not, they're not godlike, but they want to come across as superior, better than, the smartest person in the room, the most talented person in the room. Yeah. An ability to monopolize conversations and belittle other people's input. Again, be the most important person in the room, the smartest, the most intelligent, having to share their opinion because it's the only opinion in their mind, right? And belittle others' input. Yeah, to keep themselves on that pedestal, or to keep themselves in that best, better category, right? They're going to make everybody around them feel less than. Can easily become envious of others and believe others envy them. Yeah. Again, they want to have the best. They want to have the most. They want to be the best. They want to be the most. And again, these things are to the nth degree. All of these things. I mean, there's people out there that are like this a little bit. These people, they're going to fall in one of these two categories when it's the nth degree. Their envy of others is over the top. It's like, why are you so concerned with that person? Like, just stay in your own lane. And they don't want to stay in their own lane. They want to make sure that everybody knows they're better, best. They may behave arrogantly and appear to be conceited, boastful, or pretentious. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because for most of them, they're acting. And we're going to talk about that. They often insist on having the best of everything, which will be reflected in their possessions, even if they're things they cannot afford, which is where the connections come in, right? So again, all of these are to the nth degree. These aren't people that kind of exhibit these things. These are people that are like over the top, right? And they're over the top in a way that they're hurtful to people. Like, they're destructive. Their envy, their boastfulness, all of it, it's destructive. And that's where I have these conversations with people who are in these relationships, and they don't understand. They don't understand why this person is hurting them, right? And so the empath is the person that can feel other people's emotions, and they can feel the neediness and the brokenness, right? Because the vulnerable type is broken, right? Shame is a big, horrible energy, right? And when you're shoving that down, you're triggered by so many things, and you're afraid to reveal yourself because you don't want that shame to come out, or whatever that caused or created the shame. You don't want that to come out. And so for the vulnerable type, right? We just want to fix them. We just want to love them. We just want to help them. With the grandiose type, they need us. They need us to validate that ego all the time. They need us to tell them how great they are, how wonderful they are, how smart they are, beautiful they are, all of the things, right? Because that's what they grew up with. They grew up with that type of being put on a pedestal, and everything they did was considered awesome and great and wonderful. And they were just the best, even when they weren't. And what's kind of sad about this type is they weren't really nurtured to be their own version of themselves, right? They just became like this character. And maybe they figured out who they were down the road. But one of the things that I will say is, because of this early programming, I mean, these are things and ways they were treated at a very early age, right? And that became part of their programming, which is why very few narcissistic people get the help to kind of come out of the narcissism, right? Because it's too scary, it's too uncomfortable. This is their programming. This is what they know. And that's what I have to help people understand all the time, is that unless they're getting like real counseling and they're being accountable, because I can't tell you how many times I have talked to people who we went to counseling, but it didn't help. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you get that narcissism in counseling, again, they're really master manipulators. They know how to tell people. They know how to run people, right? So they just start telling the counselor what they want to hear, right? And they don't want to do the work. They don't want to make changes. They have figured out how to get put on the pedestal, or everything they want people to do and be what they want, right? Through manipulation. So this is a really hard dynamic when you're the empath and you can feel that neediness and that brokenness, and you just want to help. You just want to be beneficial. You just want to make them feel better. And you can't. And you can't. And that's the hardest part. Loving someone and seeing the best potential of who they could be. And probably at the beginning of the relationship, in that first honeymoon period, where I call, they have the mask on, right? They're being wonderful. They're giving. They're showing up. They're saying all the right things. You're probably having the most connected physical connection you've ever had, right? They've learned how to manipulate. They've learned the right things to say, the right things to do, and they use that. And that, for an empath, is when they kind of lock you in. But that's not the authentic version of themselves. The authentic version of themselves is going to come, 4, 6, 8 months down the road, because they can only keep that mask on for so long. That need to manipulate, that need to get their own validation, that need to be on top, that need to be the best, the most seen, validated, that is going to come out. And one of the things the empath doesn't understand is they are sucking you dry, emotionally, mentally, physically, energetically. Because what you don't understand is a narcissist really is down here, very low vibrational. Greed is one of the vibrations that a narcissist has, because they're wanting more all the time, more attention, more money, more things, more validation, more. And so it becomes a situation where you're giving and you're giving because this is what you want to do. You want to be the people pleaser. You want to be the beneficial. You want to be the one that helps them because they're coming to you and you can feel how much they need. The problem is, it's their programming, and they are in a connection now with you that is more high vibrational, and they're so low that any amount of pulling up that you do is way more than they can get on their own or probably ever have gotten before. And so they want to keep that. They want to maintain that. Because now all of a sudden things are going well in their lives. They're getting the job. People are respecting them. They're getting treated in a way they've never been treated before by others. Their life is blooming. It's you, the empath. It's you. You're doing this for them. And they know that. You don't know that, but they know that. And that's why this connection gets so intense. Because they're going to do anything they can to keep that. Let me say that again. They're going to do anything they can to keep that because it feels good. And things are flowing. Money's flowing. Opportunities are flowing. Vacations, family members, like it all feels good, right? Because you took them in, it's probably your family took them in. And so now they have an extended family they've never had before. Maybe they're bonding with your parent of the same sex. So if it's, if it's your girlfriend, your mother, if it's your boyfriend, your father, like, because they've never had that dynamic before of nurturing. And this is what I tell the empath a lot, is that you've broken them open in a way that they've probably never been broken open before. And even if it's just a little bit, it still feels way better than they've ever experienced before. And so they want to keep that. And they're going to do anything to keep that. And even if that is through negative. So manipulating you, verbally abusing you, emotionally abusing you, saying anything and everything they can. Deception. They can't be authentic. So it's all deception, right? It's all deception. The cheating, the lying, the manipulating, that's their operating mode of operating. That's how they operate. And that's what they've learned. And that's their programming. And that's why I tell people you can only change yourself. You can't change them. And what's hard for you, again, I'm going to say it again, you can feel the best potential of them. You know how wonderful they could be. You know how smart they could be if they applied themselves, right? If they got out of their own way, but they can't. And it's only going to be through real help, medical, psychological help, that they really try, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've been doing this for over a decade. I haven't met one person who came back to me and said, my partner got the help, unfortunately, because this is their programming. And any of you that have gone through the dark night of the soul, the spiritual awakening, especially if you're an empath, at some point you have done it, right? Maybe you're doing it now. Maybe this is the thing that broke you into your dark night of the soul. It's important for you to know that you can only heal yourself. And once that mask comes off and you see their authenticity, that truly is who they are. No matter what promises they make, no matter how they try to manipulate you, it's always going to be about them, right? Either holding that shame down or getting that ego validation, or both. And that's powerful for them. And even though you can tap into their best potential, you have to know that they're receiving way more than you are. And for many of you as empaths, you're putting yourself in a negative deficit. You're putting yourself in a negative deficit energetically because you're giving way, way more. You're not taking the time to fill up your own cup. You're just giving and giving and giving and giving. And energetically, that's going to start breaking you emotionally, start breaking you mentally, and start breaking you physically and financially. Because again, many of these narcissists, they want the best of everything, right? And you want to give. You want to give. That's who you are. And so as the empath, it's really important for you to understand that you have two choices, only two choices in this situation. You stay in it the way it is, or you walk away. That's all you can do. And it's really important for you to learn boundaries. And as the empath, that may feel very uncomfortable to you to say no, or to walk away, or to stand in your power. Because for many empaths who haven't recognized that they are an empath, right? They're just used to being the people pleaser, the giver, the fixer, right? Because that's what kept them safe and stable in their situation, their early years of programming, right? So really, really, really important to really understand that you can't change them, that even though you can feel their best potential, only they can realize it, but you have to save yourself. Love yourself enough to save yourself. Oh, Colleen, thank you for being here. Welcome. Welcome, Hope. So this is the work that I've been doing for the past 3 or 5 years now in getting this message out. And I've sat down to do this video for the public for about a year now. I've probably sat down 5 or 6 times to try to make this video, and each time it has not worked. And so I sat down with myself this morning in meditation, like I do each morning, and like, what, Spirit, what do I need to bring through? And it was like, you know what to bring through. You know that this message is needed. You know what you've been through. You know how hard it is to recognize that when you love someone and they have manipulated you and they've cheated on you and they've lied to you and they've eroded your soul by making you feel like you're the crazy one. Gaslighting is a real thing, right? Trying to make you feel bad and manipulate you by telling you that you didn't say those things, or isolating you. Other people think this about you. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's damaging. It's destructive. And again, I'm not here to demonize anyone. That's their programming. And we can pray for them and we can love them from afar. But not letting them damage you anymore is the important message here. To take back your soul, your light, who you are. And whatever damage has occurred, whatever belief you bought into, or whatever lie broke you, you can heal. You can heal. It's going to take time. But again, for some of you as empaths, this may be the thing that brings you to your knees, because you're in despair, right? Your emotions are defunct. You feel crazy mentally. You may have, very little money or resources or support. You may be isolated. Maybe you were isolated from your friends and your family. And there's going to have to be a lot of healing, right? But you can do it. And your friends and your family will come back. They will support you once they understand that you are now awake and you see the truth that they were really trying to help you see, and you were just getting angry or walking away. It's okay. Forgive yourself. One of the post that I put up this morning actually was very channeled. It was a very channeled message. I mean, 90% of what I bring through, guys, is channeled. I mean, it's coming from spirit. It's not coming from me. But they gave me the definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the releasing yourself from the bondage of the negative emotion. The bondage. You've been in bondage, a negative bondage, a destructive bondage. And so understanding that this is their programming, that mask that came off, that's who they truly are. The mask will never come back. They're never going to put that mask back on for you, because that was just to get you to buy into them. That was just to get you to be there for them, love them, give to them, right? Put them on that pedestal, make their life better. And yes, your gut is right. If you feel like they're talking to someone else, they are. If you feel like, and I call it like they have someone in their back pocket, because remember, they need that validation. They're shut down emotionally. So they need that ego validation all the time. Like people telling them, you're great, you're wonderful, here you are. They need that dopamine, right? They need that cortisol, right? So they're always, whether it's social media or the girl at the gas station, like they're always flirting. They're always, trying to get that connection. They're trying to get that flirtation. They're trying to get that interest, right? They need that. They need that chemical release. And so they're not going to let you go easily unless they flip the switch and they just walk away. And sometimes that happens where they're not getting from you what they want, and they're tired of the game with you, right? It's not going the way they want it to, and they flip that switch and they move on. And when they flip that switch, there's no going back. They're out. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, they're out. And that takes your power away, takes your voice away. And that's very, very damaging. It's not about you. And that's the important thing you understand. It's not about you. You did nothing wrong. In any of these scenarios, in any of these situations with your narcissist, you did nothing wrong. This was them. This was them in their disorder. I do call it a disorder. I've talked to so many of you that are broken. I've talked to so many of you that are just in despair. What did I do wrong? Nothing. Nothing. They did not have what they tricked you. I'm going to use the word tricked into believing, because when that mask is on, it's all a facade. It's all a facade. All the words, all the actions, it's a facade. It's like playing a part. They're tricking you. And you did nothing wrong. What you did that was very unconscious is just be you. Energetically be you. You drew them in by your energy. They could feel your goodness. They could feel your high vibration, and they wanted that. They wanted that. They wanted your benefit. They wanted your benefit. They wanted to feel better. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to be. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. And I know that can feel very hard to internalize and believe, especially if you're still not in your power. You're still working through your dark night of the soul, coming into your authenticity. Good morning, Kayla. Welcome. So this is a very, very damaging connection for the empath. And your goodness and who you are is to be celebrated. And where you've been eroded, because they eroded your confidence, your power, because the only way that they could be in this relationship with you, especially if you've been in a narcissistic relationship for years, right? It's to kind of keep you in that cycle of things are great and then things are not great, and then things are great and then things are not great. And that's the lying and the manipulating. That's the cycle of that. So for those of you where they flip the switch and they walk away, I hate to say it, and as disempowering as that is and as hard as that is, it's almost helping you move on faster and heal faster. Because for those of you where they keep coming back, because whatever situation they took off with, right? Because they left with someone, they can't be alone, right? When that doesn't work out, and it won't, right? They're going to come back to you and try to open that door or window with you, is what I call it. There's nothing new there. No matter what they're saying, there's nothing new there. So this is where your healing and you becoming empowered is going to be very, very helpful so that you can navigate those situations without more damage. Because the longer you stay in it with them, the more often you take them back and try again. Like, it's just prolonging the inevitable. The inevitable of them going in a direction finally, or you finally deciding you're walking away. Because remember, there's only two options. Deal with it the way it is, or walk. If they haven't flipped the switch and left you. And it happens, but rarely. The one that's most common that I have dealt with is the one where they keep cycling back. Like every 3 months, hey, how are you? Or that text message, hey. That's literally to see if you'll open the door. Are they going to respond? Is it going to be a positive response? Even a negative response. They want that too. That's the hard part about this, guys, is like they want your attention, positive or negative. They want your attention. So if you're arguing with them or you're going back and forth with them, you're still validating that ego. That's why it's important to either just walk away yourself and disconnect, block, whatever you got to do so they can't get to you. And I know you're not going to want to, because in the beginning when that mask was on, it was phenomenal. They knew exactly what to say and how to act and how to be to get you to attach and connect. But it wasn't authentic. There was nothing authentic about it. And you're like, but Melissa, I know they loved me. I could feel the love. It wasn't authentic. It wasn't authentic. And especially for empaths who have had it tough, right? You've probably not ever felt like you've been in love before. Or you've been in abusive relationships before. There's a part of you that's craving that. There's a part of you that's craving that. And so you want to believe it. And you don't want to let it go because you're terrified you're never going to have it again. What I'm going to tell you is you will. Not like this. Nothing will ever be like this, because the person that comes into your life will be authentic. It'll be better. Believe it or not, it'll be better. Because that person is going to see you and love you and give to you in a balanced relationship. This is a very imbalanced relationship where they're getting all the benefit and you're getting very little, anything. If anything, you're just getting the abuse. You're just getting the lying and the cheating and the gaslighting. And I know these are very difficult connections to walk away from, because you can feel the best potential. You can feel their desire. It's not love. Desire is not love. What they're wanting is your benefit. People look at them differently when they're with you. People respond to them differently when they're with you. Their life is different in a better way with you, because again, your frequency is pulling them up, but it's also pulling you down. They're pulling you down, you're pulling them up. They're receiving all the benefit. You're just being pulled down. You're not receiving benefit. You're right, you're not alone. But you're also being energetically, psychically attacked every single day because they can't maintain that energy without you. They're just siphoning you like you're the gas pump. They just keep siphoning it. And you keep getting depleted and depleted and depleted to a point where maybe you have to go bankrupt. You lose your job. You lose your friends. Your whole life changes in a negative aspect. And they're doing great. But it's on your back. They're taking credit for your goodness. They're never going to be the person you fell in love with because that person doesn't exist. I wish they did, but they don't. But I don't want you to feel like you're never going to have love again because you are. And it's not going to be like this because this was damaging. But this, if you really reflect on why you bought into this person, what brought you to this person, why maybe you stayed in that relationship so long, what was it that you needed to transform? Self-actualization will be so beneficial to you so that if you come in contact with another narcissist as an empath, you probably will. Chances are pretty high you're gonna attract another broken person, right? You can see the red flags. You know, when someone's coming on to you over the top, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Is this person real or not? Like, all of a sudden, that feels too good to be true. All right? Give it time. Take it slow. They'll reveal themselves. Totally. You won't have to figure anything out. They'll reveal themselves. But to be more aware and present with the people around you. But the person that's going to come into your life that's more authentic, that is going to be your authentic love partner, right? It's going to be more in alignment with who you are. You're going to have way more in common. You're going to think similarly about things. You're going to have the same moral compass, right? That person will be there. That person will show up. But you've got to heal from this situation first. Because as an empath, you were hurt, even if you don't understand it. But mentally, emotionally, energetically, and for some of you physically, you were hurt. You were abused. Verbally, absolutely. Emotionally, 100%. And some of you physically. And probably financially. They want the best of everything. And you want to give it to them. Because in the moment, you don't want them to be upset. In the moment, you want to be beneficial. In the moment, you want them to have what they want. But are you putting yourself in a negative deficit? Are you giving too much? That's where it's really important for you to step back, you know? And really, your empathic nature, your empathy, your intuitive, your clairsentience basically is what it is, right? Let's call a spade here. You're clairsentient. You know what you feel. You're feeling, your gut, you're feeling, right? That's your guidance system. And when that feels off, don't discount it just because you feel like you love them. They've loved bombed you so much that you feel like they're your everything, but your gut is going, oh, no, something's not right in the state of Denmark. Like, hold on. You gotta really start trusting that feeling, that clairsentience. It's been your guidance system up to this point. It's what kept you safe. It developed because you needed it. Trust it now. Trust it now. Whenever I'm doing a card reading and I get the Seven of Swords, that's my card for narcissist. And there's other, in other decks, there's other cards. There's actually a deception card in the Romance Angels. The information is out there. The information is out there. But I know as an empath, this is really, really hard for you, because if you're not an empath that has evolved into taking back your power, setting boundaries with people, that saying no to this person is going to be really hard. Walking away from this person is going to feel very foreign to you, because you're the fixer. You're the people pleaser. You want to be beneficial. You want everybody to be happy and healthy and sustained and supported. But you have to understand, whether they're the vulnerable or whether they're the grandiose, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're still manipulative. They're still driven by their ego. They're still emotionally unavailable. That's never going to change. And if it does, it's going to take a lot of work on their part, a lot of therapy, a lot of counseling, a lot of forgiveness. And forgiveness is not their strong suit. They do not forgive. If someone does them dirty, that triggers them and they move on, or they double down on doing them dirty back. So be very, very, very careful. Keep yourself safe. For some of you, you're going to want to have a support system before you do leave, because especially if they've isolated you, it's become a very abusive situation. And so I want you to have what you need to be able to be safe and stable as you move on. So definitely check out services in your area. Reach out to your family, because chances are, whether you believe it or not, they've been waiting for you to reach out. They've been waiting for you to wake up. They've been waiting for you to come back to yourself, because they love you. Because they love you and they want what's best for you. If you're watching this video and you've gotten to this point, something is resonating in your soul. And it's time for you to make the change. It's time for you to go in the new direction. It's time for you to love yourself and take back your power. And maybe step into your power for the first time ever. Get the support. Get the support. Don't do it alone. And if you don't have family or friends that you feel that would be supportive, maybe you have been isolated for a long time, then check out the services. Check out the services. Check out the hotlines. Because there are people that will help you. There are services that will help you. You're not alone. And if you just need to start by praying and invoking your angelic help, start there. Because you'll start seeing the signs and you'll start getting the inspirations on where to go and what to do. Spirit will bring you what you need, but you have to ask, and that's all you have to do. It's a heavy subject today, and I knew we were going to go over the normal. I knew this wasn't going to be a normal video. I knew this wasn't going to be a normal daily guidance. But like I said, I've been trying to bring this information to the public for about a year now. And every time I've sat down to do it, it hasn't really worked out. And this morning in meditation, it was like, you're ready. You're ready to deliver this message. I had to get through my own imposter syndrome. I had to get through my own stuff, right? Because when I tell you that some of this is personal lessons that have been reinforced by so many hours of conversation and tuning into male and female narcissists, male and female grandiose, male and female vulnerable. You know, whatever camp they sat in, it didn't matter. At the end of the day, they were still being destructive to the person, to the empath. And as the empath, I don't want you to feel like you could have done anything different. There's nothing you could have said. There's nothing you could have done different. That mask came off. And who they have been showing you since it came off, that is who they truly are. And I know that takes time to reconcile, takes time to accept. But the sooner you do, the sooner you can get into your own healing and move on to your next chapter. I'm sending you so much light and love, guys. So many blessings. And you can always reach out to me on my website at guidance311.com. Integrated energy therapy, my healing modality, has been so instrumental in my own healing from the empath narcissist relationship dynamic, family, and romantic partner. I was holding on to a lot of anger and resentment that I did not even recognize because it was very issues in my tissues, very internalized, but it was affecting and impacting every aspect of my life. And I wasn't able to have the finance. I wasn't able to have the love. I wasn't able to have the relationship. Wasn't able to have my own sovereignty, my own divinity, my own power. I was always hurt. I was always angry. I was always victim. Why me? Why can't I get the promotion? Why can't I get the person? Why can't I get that? Why can't I get that vacation? Why can't I get that dollar amount in my bank account? Right? I was totally in victimization. I had to figure it out and I had to heal from it. And it took time. But I'm going to be honest with you. One of the hurdles that I talk about on my AET journey was totally this. Totally this. And you can heal too. You can have the life you want too. You can have love too. Authentic love, real love. Love yourself. Do what you have to do for yourself. And understand they're going to keep telling you what you want to hear, or they're going to keep scaring you. Basically saying and doing whatever they have to keep you where you are. And that's what's scary. And that's where situations can get dangerous. Only you can save yourself. There's nobody coming in to save you. You can have help, but you have to take the first step. You have to say, I want out, even if it's just to yourself. It's time. It's time. All right, guys. Sending you so much love and so many blessings.